Hello, everyone. It's been a long while since I've did a live on Facebook, and it's partly because I transitioned to how I was interacting with others. So on the other platform, we have open discussion, if you will, and ones can speak. And of course, with Facebook, it's usually I scroll down like now to read comments if there's any questions. But here we are. So lots to speak about for sure. I have some topics written down. And before I begin, uh, I would like to say, as some of you may know, our dear brother Ivan has ascended, leaving the physical vessel behind, and has gone forward. And our dear brother Ivan Schultz, he was um, a representative of GPMS as well, and known to many perhaps in the like communities. So obviously, Ivan's divine mission and contributions here in the physical has been completed. So he has gone forward. So our love, light, gratitude, and utmost respect for Ivan. And we will see him soon in the future, for sure. So, having said that, uh, with Ascension and everything that is occurring, for the most part, most of the human souls are ascending with the humanoid vessel intact. And there are very few that are going forward like Ivan has ascended in that way. So very few that way. So the thing is, it's with the soul contract, if you will, what the soul contract, what the soul decides, and that is if you will, a personal uh, thing between the soul and the overall divine plan and creator, of course. So, having said that, we continue forward. How's this feed occurring? It keeps popping up that the feed may be slow. And hello, everyone. Am I consistent here with this video? It should be working okay. Someone wishes to just say that it's working fine, perhaps one of you that were on here since I began the live. Thank you. Oh, okay, thanks, Craig. Keeps getting interrupted. Okay. And I have about the strongest internet here. Let's try this. Should make it better. Okay. Let me just give me a moment, please, and there's some other configuration I may be able to do here. I'll make this better. Let me see. Oh, what I may do. So you're saying working but low sound. Hello, everyone coming on. So if I speak louder, can you hear me now? says please set to 15 to 60. Just give me a moment. Of course, something has changed here. Oh well. I will try one more thing here. It says to set. Let me check one thing. No, that's a little bit too complicated, so I'll just continue forward with what we are doing here. So I'll just get back online. Okay, we're back and we'll try this. And hello everyone. So I'll continue forward and see how this assists. So let's begin with the divine plan overall upon the planet. And someone in a couple minutes' time, just please put in the comments how it's working. That would be great. Thank you. So, everything with the divine plan is progressing forward very rapidly, as many of you know. And essentially, the divine plan is the full deliverance of humanity to the first echelon of the 5D state of being. Now, the fifth dimensional state of being does not include negativity to any great degree, and it certainly does not include any darkness or any ill intent. So heaven said this, we are going through that separation phase very rapidly now, where any with ill intent are not going forward, but also through their public actions, if you will, they are being identified to what their intent is, and then clearly they become separated from humanity that is going forward. So, how's that? I'm speaking loud. Okay, thank you. Well, anyone having difficulties, turn up your own volume as well. To my knowledge, everything I have here is to the loudest with it. So I will continue. So the overall divine plan, excuse me, the overall divine plan is going very rapidly and very beautifully. And, you know, to look at it from the highest level, everything has been set up in the last 2 years for humanity to know the truth, what has been occurring in the past, but they needed the truth to make the choices to go forward. And of course, that's being all divinely administered through the courses of the actions of the dark minions that are left in this reality. So they are serving a purpose, if you will, for the people to stand, and it is about there are no governments or globalists and no elites here in the very near future. Wealth disparity is wiped out. There is full equality, full harmony. So the divine plan is going perfect as it needs to be. One thing with it, and we always have every solution, and one thing I wish to say is that there are many belief constructs that are out there, even in the truther communities and even in the conscious communities as well, that not everything yet is in alignment to converge with the ultimate reality. So you have many threads that are out there. However, what is occurring is that they are becoming more and more aligned as we go forward. Now, what I also need to say is that yes, we keep putting out GPMS as the divine plan because it is the ultimate, most humane, free solution for humanity. In the past, there has been Gesara, Nasara, QFS concepts and beliefs and constructs. But again, just putting all of them constructs into a nutshell, they do not set humanity free. They are complex looping systems that takes that does not give the power to the people. You have what you would look at, like for example, with the Gesara instrument and concept. You have, for example, they say a few hundred countries, governments have signed on, for this humane thing. However, if that was so, you would not see what's occurring on the planet at this time. And again, with that, with the QFS, it is a great concept. However, it still has fear contained within it, meaning that it has fear where it includes protective measures for the financial system in the future. And in reality, where we're going to 5D, you do not have criminals, and there is no need for any protection simply because the darkness is not there. So you have several inferior concepts and beliefs at this time that they are being tested and tried and dismantled because they must converge to the ultimate, which is the GPMS. Now, you have many powerful co-creators upon the planet that influence reality, and reality is influenced through your thoughts and your beliefs. And having said this, what I said before, once we get all of these that are on different concepts and different paths of truth, where they're all scattered, once we have them all aligned with the one ultimate common goal to free humanity, which is GPMS, then we get it done. So what is occurring is that all of their concepts, which were transitional concepts, and they were very important and very good, like QFS, Gesara, prosperity funds, all of these were transitional steps, never meant to come to fruition, but they're meant to advance the consciousness forward and to, in the least, explore for the new solutions. So the new solution and the ultimate is the GPMS. So without these transitional concepts, GPMS could not be delivered here as an entity in the ultimate solution in this time. And it has been revealed in March 17th of this year to the planet, if you will. So it's our gpms.world website, and we needed this for the divine plan because everyone needs to make a choice, and their choice needs to be documented in one place to create the voice of the worldwide majority. So anyone going to the site, um, you need to document your choice, and there is a way to do that. You just fill out some of your slight details, which everyone is used to filling out, and put some kind of a scribble mark in there to say you were there. So as the voice gets bigger, which it is doing very rapidly, we bring this new reality with GPMS into fruition and to inception. And GPMS is the end game. It cannot be manipulated like QFS, Jacera, Nacera, anything that deals with a gold-backed or a resource or precious metals financial system. That's all inferior, and the problems with that when you have a gold-backed um, financial system, the problems is who owns the gold, who dictates the value of it, and well, who does that is the governments and the banks, but then you see, boom, you're right back into the same situation that loops you and keeps control. The GPMS is the freedom solution, whereas ones as individuals, you activate your intrinsic value and you can turn that into money as your own creator, but in a community with others. And it's done very simply and easily. The way money is made, it is just created. And these days, you just go and you type a couple figures into a bank, if you will, and poof, money's created. So it's very easy to create it, but it's all about the control upon the planet in the past, the control by the less than 1% of all humanity. And to divinely assure that that control is dealt with, this is why you're seeing what has transpired in the last 2 years, that it's forcing everyone to stand. But there is divine reasons for that again. So at this time, everyone has a choice, of course, what they wish to support with their beliefs. However, what I say once again is that the GPMS is the ultimate belief and concept that propels humanity forward and places them securely into a place of absolute abundance, equality, and freedom. So I need to say that again because I know there's, many good-hearted leaders, if you will, of the higher consciousness out there doing their best. However, they need to know of GPMS, and they need to know, as I said, of the old control tactics. In reality, no government or anyone is going to do this for you. It takes the people to stand, and that's why it's divinely orchestrated to be this way. And then the people tells the military or the police, what have you, what to do if there is any remnants of the governments or the old darkness in in still in existence. So it's all divinely arranged and divinely assured. But also, the quicker we get everyone in alignment, the quicker we realize the full freedom. So it is on divine timing, meaning that it happens when it must happen. But what I am saying is that we are currently in it now. So there is a great, uh, the greatest jubilee and greatest celebration you could ever imagine is right on everyone's doorstep at this time. So as soon as there is the big enough united voice of the people and they choose the GPMS reality, then it is done. Everyone needs to realize that a majority unified voice around the planet of, let's say, 6, 7 billion, nothing can go against that. So it is the absolute template for the simple new society for humanity. And very quickly, to say this, it comes to fruition. And ones don't even need to be awake to be part of GPMS right now. It's simple that they have a choice that they can just go in and look at old versus new. And if you wish to support the new, then you're part of the GPMS and you're part of the divine voice, which is being created to bring it into fruition. But it takes the support of the people. And having said this, every child, if a child is only 1 second old, that child's voice can be added and counted as one, the same as you or I were counted as one. And the children's voice needs to be heard in this because it's for their now and it's for their future. So their choices to be part of the new, fully abundant and liberated and harmonious, loving future, uh, that choice is theirs. But if you're a parent or a guardian, it is also your responsibility to perhaps make that choice for them as well. So, the divine plan is going very quickly, very rapidly, and we're watching it all come to fruition. Again, the part when I say it's coming to fruition, you're seeing more and more people standing up on the streets, not complying, if you will, for they are standing in their power. And this is a very important part of this divine plan. Simply, if they do not stand in their power, then they're enslaved like the old ways that they were and controlled and put in places of misery, lack, control, enslavement. You know the whole thing. So it's important for um, many individuals to stand and say no to what's occurring worldwide with mandates, if you will, and restrictive measures. So that's all divinely occurring, and it's divinely orchestrated to occur. So, I'll see if there's any questions down here. Thanks, Bonnie. So, oh, I see some are having some difficulties, but I'm still scrolling, and thanks, Bonnie, for assisting here. Great. Okay. So most can hear and see me. Also, for any that may have difficulties now, these are recorded and put out on YouTube later, at least, and also in some other areas. So if it's not working great for you now, you may be able to watch it later and be able to hear and see better with it. So, currently, without getting into too much detail about the other things I mentioned, what do I have here? Yeah, so as you can see with the sun, any of you that are watching the energetics, it's currently set up again at this time with much light activity, solar flares and prominences and magnetic fluxes, a whole wide array of energetics. And energetics, of course, because the ascension is ongoing on the planet, anything emitted from the sun is all divinely oriented and administered. And many of you also, as you advance forward, are more able to feel when there is a flare on the sun, for example, and also the other energies that are responsible for assisting you in upgrading your physical vessels and advancing them more into the crystalline, a more crystalline state. Now, with this, what I can say is that the crystalline state is very real. Femka's and my bodies are advanced crystalline, and they do illuminate at times and places. And the love, when you're into the intimacy, the love activates the crystalline properties of the vessel. And this is very real. And what I'm saying here also, in the higher dimensions, I will just go way out there to the truth. The fact is that once you have, if it's in your soul contract, and once you have developed these physical vessels far enough into the crystalline, you can maintain these humanoid bodies indefinitely. And that is also a truth. So for any of you that are going through your crystalline process with your body, and you know this, this is an absolute truth of what occurs. But again, it varies from soul to soul. So no one is to say other than you, if you are changing, you will realize it. And one of the easiest ways to know if your body is changing to crystalline is when you know your Kundalini has been activated or you're feeling the energy. So it's pretty simple. A strong empath or even an empathic one with the sensitivities and abilities to feel energy is transitioning their physical vessel. So I need to say that, and it is your Merkaba, it is your actual light body that allows you to, in the least, to be multi-dimensional, which means you can transverse space and time, transcend is what I should say, space and time, and you're not constant in really any one reality. But what's occurring with the vessel is it's being prepared to sustain, at least for any of you watching for the most part, to sustain the existence in the 5D reality where darkness and most negativity does not exist. So this is a worldwide planetary ascension. And again, the things to assist to get you there is the purity, the pure of heart, and always doing the good things and eliminating the fear and negativity and the way that you act. no longer act out of anger, uh, because that generates and negates, it generates negativity, density, and it negates your field, which can hinder your crystalline process. So the purity, the energetics, doing your inner work is so important with this. And as many of you know, the more of your inner work you get done with changing the way you act and react and getting rid of fear-based actions and reactions and emotions, the stronger your gifts, your divine gifts become. So pay attention to what your diet is, the water that you drink. Make sure it's as clean, and with this, it gives your body, your physical vessel, more energy to rapidly transition it more into the crystalline base as well. And so each one is unique, to what you can tolerate and to what you can eat. However, there is the general guidelines not to be eating chemical foods, and eat the best that you can, and the cleanest that you can, and also with the cleanest water. And don't be putting chemicals and things into your body, a whole lot of them at least. So, and I'm still smoking. However, this is mostly, is what we have is mostly organic, so it doesn't contain uh, chemicals. This vessel can tolerate um, some chemicals, but I feel it, and I pay close attention that, for example, uh, tonight we had ran out of tobacco, so we got some from a store that's not organic, and I can feel it. However, we just got enough for tonight until I get some better organic tobacco uh, in the following day. But what I wish to say, you definitely can feel it as well when your sensitivities raise. And, this also goes with the food that you're eating, also the environments that you're in. It's best to look at everything as divine guidances and mechanisms at this time. And it always has been for you, and it's, of course, look at everything as the test, but know that you have all of the answers. You never fail. It's just when you understand that they are tests and stop and look at what's occurring from the higher perspective, and then you keep advancing in your prowess and in your consciousness. Okay, so I'll look to see if there is some questions. I see one question here from Marie Carroll about what about medication? What I say with any synthetic or chemical drugs, I say no. Keep keep holistic for all of your remedies, because one of the simple reasons why is that your physical vessel is actually going through a natural process that has not occurred before. And there is much going on within side of the body. It's the physical vessel is actually evolving within. And if you put in synthetic chemicals and drugs like medication, what it does, it hinders the growth. It slows down the energy of the body, because the body looks at it, it cannot break down the synthetic chemicals. So it has to go through a process to do something with it. And sometimes part of that process is it creates obesity because it stores it in the fat. But what this also does is it takes the energetics from your body, it takes the focus of that advancing your vessel to what to do with the toxins and the chemicals. So, if you're not to put the chemicals and the medications into your body, then your body has extra energy to work on the advancement of the crystalline process. And those ones that you will find, their physical vessels, and the vegetarians, a lot of these you will see that have taken proper care of their physical vessels are in very good shape. Their stamina, their resilience, um, all of this, it shows. It's so easy to see. So it is important. Take care of that. Thank you. You're welcome, Marie. Hi, Angel and Joy, and hi to Jesse as well. Yeah, Bonnie brings up the synthetics are in the foods and drinks. And yes, it is. You need to be very meticulous, I suggest, with what you need to be very meticulous with what you are purchasing at a store. And what I always suggest is to go organic, or even get it from farmers that don't use pesticides and herbicides, and of course are not growing things in polluted ground or in polluted waterways nearby. So uh, soda pop, that's a no-no. And there's many of these concoctions that contains many destructive acids and chemicals to the vessel. And it's each one's choice what they do. However, I have to say, no, don't do that. You are making your physical vessel very sick by doing it. And you also wish to maintain a pH level above 7 of your physical vessel, and this deals with what you eat. So it's good to pay attention to keep a more alkaline diet as well. Louise asks about drinking wine. What I always suggest, no alcohol whatsoever. And one of the reasons I say this is because the sugars are complex in alcohol, the chemical arrangement. And this, you can see how this is very true when ones have hangovers or not feeling well, the next day after they have, let's say, drank, uh, perhaps even to inebriation, intoxication. And then ones, the next day, it may be up to 24 hours, they'll still be feeling low density. This is because the complex uh, sugars, what is in the alcohol, takes so much energy to break down, and this is why you're sick and discomfortable. But also, even with just a glass of wine, for some that are advanced now in the crystalline body, it can hinder you and set you back. And there are even some that are more sensitive, like I am. I do not drink alcohol, and but there are also some that are more sensitive, that any fermented, uh, any very ripe fruits that are beginning to ferment, they begin to create the alcohols as well, and they cannot even have those. So it depends upon the individual. You're welcome, Louise. Yeah, there's many. Wayne Millette says something about medical medium. So, what we're seeing emerging is so much more beautiful, good information with your diets, how to take care of yourself, and, what to avoid. And in this glorious time as well, we're seeing the emergence of the organic coming more and more into the reality, the organic selections of produce, if you will. So you're seeing this come back in, the importance of the organics, as of course the GMO and chemical things is phasing out very quickly, and also because of the information, let's even say medical information showing what it actually does to the vessels. And ones are raising in their consciousness and knowing that yes, you need to be responsible for your temple, your physical vessel. It's so important because we are going through this ascension, and there is actually more going on than what one's thought about, which makes it even so much more important to take care of your physical vessels. So, see if we have some other questions here. Thank you, Bonnie, with the coffee lattes with the high fructose in there. Yes, yeah, if something, pay close attention, to your diet, what you eat, and monitor how you feel after. This is one of the ways that quickly you can tell yourself what is not good for your body as well. If it lowers your energy and you know it's the food that did it, well, you know what to do. And Catherine McKenna asks, what does diatomaceous? I'm trying to remember how to pronounce that. Earth food grade do. With this, I believe the zeolites, it does assist ones, but let me say it's also not for all. So it is on an individual basis, is what I would say with that. Yeah, I kept trying to look at things. One I see one here is Janelle Morris says tobacco is lowering your vibration according to the ascended guides. Now, what I will say, Janelle, that perhaps if I was not smoking, I would not even be in this reality. So, some of us use it for a grounding agent and also as a tool for clarity. See, the thing with smoking, perhaps what you saw in the Ascension guides that you're referring to, it depends on the type of tobacco. Is it organic tobacco, ceremonial tobacco, which is very beneficial for the health and for many other spiritual things? Or are you speaking about chemical tobacco, which is toxic and poison, which I agree. So I would like to, perhaps if you can put up what type of tobacco you are speaking about. But I will further this with saying that there is the order that for everyone, let's say, with tools that you have used in the past, like what occurs is synthetic drugs. They might have been used as a tool. I'll put psychedelics in there with natural mushrooms right in there with those drugs as well. Those are usually the first to go. And alcohol if one has that as well, is usually the second. Then it's marijuana organic, and then it's tobacco is usually the last to go. Then with the vibration, you can look at that somewhat as a gauge, and then the vibration is there that you're no longer, let's say, with everyone together, you're no longer restricted to the lower reality because everything depends upon vibration. Uh, for I to share with this physical vessel, uh, what the tobacco does for I, it, it creates a more clarified, uh, open state and and let's say higher energetics with the physical vessel and also the energetics of this vessel. When I smoke high, very high ceremonial tobacco, for instance, I can feel it within my whole energetic field, my whole aura. So for I, it does have the benefits with it. And again, each one it can be very unique to what works for them. So it's I don't. There are general guidelines with the ascension for each individual, and that's the way that it should be. And this is also why each is told to go with what resonates for you, what resonates in your heart. You use that discernment, what feels right, and that is what is right for you uh, to have in your journey, whether it be alcohol or smoking cigarettes. And so it's to follow what you feel, what resonates with you, what is it very important. You know what I will say, uh, I have done in the past, many gatherings, if you will, and I smoke, and usually when I go out to have a smoke break, if you will, that sometimes it's around maybe 20, sometimes 30% uh, that is at the gathering will uh, come out and have a cigarette. Of course, it varies, but I have seen, let's say, the majority of times that there's perhaps an average around 20 to 30%, and it depends from area to area. But you're seeing these enlightened ones, higher consciousness ones, but they're still using it, let's say, as a tool. So it's important not to judge another by what they're doing, uh, because also they can change in an instant, and we always wish for any to empower them. We don't wish to project things upon them. We wish to give the solutions for empowerment. Then it becomes their choice, and that is the best way to do it. For example, if I see someone drinking alcohol, which I know it will hinder them, I will give them the reason, perhaps why they should not. But I don't judge them for that because they're doing. I also say, if it's time for you to quit, it will happen. You'll either do it voluntarily or you'll become so sick that you won't be able to. But we also must speak our truth when we're asked about it because it is a factual uh, thing about it. And I am, in the least, perhaps an ascension teacher, and I am to put out the truth, no matter if I'm the only one upon the planet and everyone else disagrees. It doesn't stop me from putting out that truth. And everyone can choose their own truths. But I must also speak what I am given. It's what I am here upon. One of the things that reasons I'm here upon the planet to do. to advance the divine knowledge, to empower as many as I am divinely supposed to, and also to liberate and free humanity through other things that I and others are doing. And with this, you could say that perhaps I have an ego. Yes, I do. I have a divine ego, which is my identity, and I need that for what I am. And no one can tell me what I am not, and what I am, and who I am, for I know. And I'm here, all of my intentions are to assist, and are very honorable and very good intentions. However, I am not going to say I will not be restricted by modesty or humility. And having said this, any of you that have risen and know that, let's say, you're an ascended master or an archangel, you know that you must own that divine identity, because it's part of your mission here upon the planet to assist and lead humanity forward. You did not come here to stay in a closet. You come here to assist and play a role in this divine plan and divine purpose. Thank you. I'm kind of rambling. So, yeah, it's discomfort. Some are feeling pains with it, but there's also those that have been through much of the physical vessel advancement, that there are no aches and pains anymore. There are no real discomforts like it was before. So some have got through the major parts of the process with the physical vessel. And it does, be prudent and very meticulous in, again, your diets, in your energy. Pay attention to that, because it is so important. And you will find that the discomforts that you may have will be less and less as you do that. Okay, any other questions here? See, Jennifer says it's hard to handle 3D. Well, what I wish to say, Jennifer, everyone is in now a 4D or 5D. The 3D, that was all finished in November 18th to 23rd in the linear year 2012. That is when Gaia, Terra, was actually transported to a fourth dimensional space for all of the human souls to carry out and continue their crystalline process to go forward. And of course, the separation phase here of the darkness from the light as well. So you are in a very powerful space. Let's say the remnants of darkness before were in the fourth and the third dimension, while you were only in the third. And this is how they had the power over everyone, if you will, or most, for the last 2,000 years. However, by everyone being transported to the fourth dimensional space in the linear year of 2012, it leveled the playing field, and it created that playing field where here's the darkness and here's the light, that the darkness began to lose power because the light could have all of the documentation and all of the evidence that they were concealing through energetic means. And this was the last 7 years, if you will, of revealing and exposing them. And that's why it occurs If the darkness had any real power, all of the information that's been brought out in the last decade would not exist, because if they had the power, it would have all been concealed. So you can use that to blatantly see that the darkness, the remnants of the darkness, has no power. And that the divine plan is the freedom of the human soul experience in the least. So, just scrolling here to see if there's any other questions with this. So I see a money question in by Louise in 401ks. It's at each one's own discretion what you wish to do with this. The the one guideline, or the one suggestion that I always have is to have at least some cash money out for a few weeks, at least. And during the transitioning into the new, which I anticipate to be very quick, uh, everything, all of your wealth is honored into the GPMS. But there could be a variable with this where, see, everyone needs to realize that your money is contained in digital accounts. And these accounts run on internet and financial platforms that actually the banks and the governments and the dark minions own. Meaning that really, in a blink of an eye, they could set everything, all of your savings, to zero. But I'm not here to spread fear, because it doesn't matter if they do, and because of what's coming. Everyone's going to be just fine the quicker we get things done. It can be, and perhaps will be, a little bit chaotic every day now, because that battle has to occur somewhat. However, we can lessen the effects of the worldwide chaos by one's knowing that GPMS is here, and that instead of putting all the focus on the fighting, just unite, and then what they're fighting against does not exist. You create it out of existence by creating the new, the worldwide unity with the GPMS. So that is the ultimate solution. So again, one's focus just need to change. So in the future, in the very near future, money really doesn't matter with any of your savings, because you have everything comfortably that you need in the now. And plus, the new system is just a free flowing monetary system that is only, you can say, temporary, and because humanity realizes they don't need money at all. And the reason money was created, the real reason, is for the control. And that's why the few governments and banks were the ones, that created it, said that they were the only ones able to create it so they could maintain the control. But the control has been broken. Uh, Wayne Millette says, the deep state still has most people totally deceived. He says, can we expect a breakthrough soon regarding our liberation? Wayne, it depends, what you tend to look at as the indicating factors. You're saying it has most people totally deceived, the deep state, and I say no. The majority are awake to at least enough degrees to know that something was wrong. So your perspective and mine are different with it. But again, it's where you perhaps wish to put your focus. I put my focus on looking at the protesters, if you will, on the street as one indicator. And when you see, let's say, 100,000 or however many, let's look at Australia, what has occurred there recently, when you see several 100,000 in the street, that's not everyone that is willing to stand up and awake. There are many more that are in their houses. Perhaps they couldn't join that protest. So, looking, if you look at just a number of one protest, it's really only the tip of the iceberg of how many's awake. So, if it's only the tip of the iceberg, typically uh, only 1/10 of an iceberg sticks out of water, and 9/10 cannot be seen beneath the surface. So, if you look at 100,000 in a city protesting, it very well may be that 1 million are awake. You're not just seeing them all on the front lines. And with everything I am seeing, with all of the information and the documentation that is circulating out there, the majority knows upon the planet what is going on. I will go back to I believe, almost a year ago with Dolores Cahill and the World Freedom Alliance when they began to oppose what was going on. I believe within a month they had about 1 billion views on their website. Now, that might have been repetitive viewers for sure, but that was a substantial number way back then. And, in the last year and every moment, more and more are awakening to higher degrees. So, where I am at with this, we are at the tipping point here right now. That it will not take very much longer. And the breakthrough, we are in the breakthrough, Wayne, is what I like to say, that we are amidst of all of it. And I know perhaps many of you on here tonight can attest how you are seeing ones awaken and how you see them advancing to higher consciousness. One very gratifying, impressive thing I have witnessed in the last week or more is several now when we explain the GPMS concept and the simplicity of it, they are getting it. Now, when I compare that to the past, ones would shut right off. They would not see it. So this is a micro indicator of the macro of the consciousness as well. And I use these indicators as an ascended master, as a higher consciousness or a being that I know how things work. And as a powerful creator, co-creator here, part of my tools to know where creation is at and how we're advancing with the ascension, because I am an overseer and a guarantee of the ascension. I have many tools that I look at, that I check from time to time, and what I can assure you always see with the tools, the advancement. For example, look at the people on the streets 2 years ago and compare that amount to today, you see, whoa, substantially. So it is occurring, yeah. And the deep state, no, they have no power. They uh, may attempt to intimidate and flaunt a power, but they don't have it. And another beautiful thing to witness is the militaries and the police publicly stepping away from supporting the deep state, if you will, or the governments. You know, when the when the police have to step away uh, from what was supposed to be an authoritative and protective job, it's so easy for anyone to see the corruption of the actual governments and politicians. So you're witnessing it all break down so beautifully. And every day you're seeing police and military, but not only them, doctors, nurses, ones of all professions. And we just had a teacher on here. She left a comment, might have been Marie, stepped away from their job. So you're just seeing it. It's prevalent throughout every profession, I would like to say. So it's all breaking down. The darkness has no power whatsoever. So we're right amidst of it now. Thank you. Louise asked, does the financial institutions get overtaken by the light? You can say that if you will, because that is what is occurring too. However, it's going to be a slightly different perspective, perhaps, what you're thinking of right now. But what I can say is that there is no such thing as an economic collapse, and everything is beautiful in the future. And one reason why there is no such thing as an economic collapse, it would be nonsense and it would be total malevolence for anyone to do that. Why would they uh, allow for an economic collapse when they create money at will? So it's nonsense. There never can be an economic collapse. And no one should ever believe that, because money can be created to infinity instantly. And this is what we're doing with GPMS once we have all of the people. So, they may intimidate you to try to control you, because that's what it's about, telling you, oh, we're running out of money. But that is the total lie. They never run out of money. It's not how things work. Humanity are the creators of the money. So humanity can create money to infinity. It's all about the power. The problem is with the governments and the bankers that were creating the money and telling you couldn't create it, that you had to use theirs. But that is the fiction. That is the lie that is being broken now. So money, as the tables have been flipped on them, the money tables, and with GPMS, the money, the creation of money is placed into the people's hands as a good forward tool with no control by the little guys on it any longer. So everything really is perfect now, because the stage has been totally set to facilitate what I am speaking about. So with this, again, have no fear. Things are very good. They are happening. Everything from the highest divine perspective is being set up to facilitate this harmonious freedom and abundance for humanity. and also to lift the stress factor. You can imagine what occurs when upon the planet that everyone does not need to ever worry about money again. They never need to worry about where they're going to get their next meal to feed their family. When there is none of that, instantly you lift the stress level. And this is what we're doing with GPMS. As soon as we get everyone or enough to choose to create this voice, then this creates it. And it's a really it's a very simple choice for anyone, and it creates the full freedom, uh, prosperous, loving, compassionate community, and no more of the dark controls like creating misery and sickness, because most disease is caused by stress. And when you eliminate the financial stress, it creates the opposite. It creates harmony. It creates love. It creates all of the good things which uplifts all. And then very quickly there is no sickness as well. So I see Shelley saying she heard the QFS is up and running. I'll also throw Jacera, Nacera, the GCR. I'll put them all together. And I would ask the question, how many times in the past and how many years ago have you heard the same thing, that things are up and running? The GPMS, if you will, is up and ready. However, over the course of time, you hear one saying that they're receiving funds and what have you. Sometimes, divinely and with the universe, yes, there'll be some little funds on an individual level. But what you see is that time after time, that it doesn't come to fruition. And how many times must one be fooled before they understand and look deeper at what is going on? So there is a transition occurring, but what I can assure you is that it is the GPMS, what we're doing, because anything less than that is inferior. And where GPMS is an actual entity, timeline, energetic value upon the planet, it is the divine timeline, and anything inferior has to converge and to connect into it. And this is what is occurring. Tana says, how many weeks, months do you suggest we have food storage, and will there be an issue with water supply? What I suggest is for each to follow what they feel. There may be, I always, for the most part in the past, said it'd be great to have a couple, 2 weeks supply of food on hand, and of course, good water. However, these sort of shutdown methods or shutdown concepts may not need to occur as well. It depends again upon the rate of rise of the people. So the quicker they rise but unite, the quicker it begins to eliminate other necessary things like shutting down the world for 2 weeks or a month. So the quicker the unity, then it eliminates any of these other divine steering mechanisms to assure that all of the human souls make the choice to go forward to the ultimate solution, to keep it simple. So just looking to see if there's any other questions. I see many comments, which is great. And what I may soon do is, in this, there's much energetics occurring individually and also collectively. What I will say about the sleep, um, feeling low energy or feeling drowsy and lethargic, that is a common thing at this time. And one of the reasons it's so important for any of you to rest when you need to, because we are advancing dimensionally in higher vibration so quick, what is occurring is that the physical vessel, much more needs to be done with it to acclimatize with the new reality we have that we are transitioning into. So it's very beautiful to see where many of you may become tired, need to sleep for 12, 14 hours, or even a day, or even if you find yourself having naps or need to, go with that because your physical vessel, your temple, is advancing. So this is normal at this time, and it is a common comment from many what you will see. So go with it and know that it's all for divine reasons. And of course, I see I had got a one message. I didn't open it up. I glanced at it before I come on here, and one asking about she was vibrating her whole body or what have you, but I didn't answer it yet. All of these sensations are very common with the crystalline process and what's occurring. Everything is energy, so yes, you will vibrate, you'll tingle, um, many things, and you'll also have divine, profound experiences. All of it is very real in seeing angelics, seeing light beings with your physical eyes, seeing ships. It's all real. Yes, and it's all part of each one's development forward. So don't know that everything is okay with what is occurring and have no fear with it because as a more powerful conscious co-creator every day that you're becoming, if you choose to think that something's wrong with your body, you're going to create a lot more discomfort for you because you are actually creating it. So be very conscientious and aware that where your conscious thought can make your body sick, your conscious thought can also make it instantly better. So, and the trick with that is to not get tricked into fear thoughts. And you'll also see how it changes your reality very quickly. You'll see how it changes the content that you come into contact with as well. How it changes your reality, how it changes others. And that is so important too, because we're here to assist everyone forward, and anything that is fear based is no longer necessary and it doesn't serve. It's all about community, unity, and togetherness and supporting each other with love and creating this higher community of all of the human souls upon the planet. And yes, it is higher when I say that because it's above density. You don't want this. Density and fear is staying behind. You're going to a higher, more glorious, gracious, loving, harmonious space. So to do that, to get there, you have to leave the old fear-based ways behind and the old ways of thinking, the old density. It's all got to go. You don't want to create that in the new. And having said that, when we get all of the other um, beliefs that are out there, when we have them all aligned with the one common goal, then we get to the absolute freedom quicker. So I'll see if there's another question or so, and I may soon end this. Um, Matt Ehrlich is asking a question. Do you know about the Voyager's Christos 12D DNA missions? Let me say with that, I'm not familiar, but what I will say is that there's so many variations out there of the one thing. So it would be great that all of the variations also converge to one definition and one understanding in the future. So we wish to keep everything simple, like with the more belief systems that are out there, uh, ones get kind of distracted. And with your conscious thought, if you're believing especially disempowering belief systems, then you're not creating the new full reality you want. So it becomes important where you put your focus, where your thought is at, is what you're energizing. So, for example, you have a choice to energize Jacera Nasera and keep energizing that, which is a gold backed looping system and much more. Or you can energize and put your focus on the complete deliverance from that, where you are absolutely free. So it's important to use this analogy to show you it is important where you put your conscious thought because you're energizing, you are creating a new reality, and you have a choice. Why create a transition or a lesser thing when you are fully able and capable to create the ultimate freedom? So it would become a nonsensical choice for anyone when they know of the full ultimate freedom compared to a looping mechanism. It becomes nonsensical to choose that for most. You know, everyone, for the most part, that is watching this, you have seen all of the misery, malevolence upon the planet. Do you need to see any more? No, you don't. It's not the time. So why energize that? Put the focus on the unity to create this new reality now. That's what I say. Thank you. I see one question here. It says, are the elite and rich in bunkers? I would say perhaps some of them are. You saw um, a vacating of positions, you know, with CEOs and what have you. So, you know that let's say they're running for the hills, but in reality, there's nowhere to hide. Is what I would like to say. Um, you know, the last 5 months has been important for the darkness to see the results of its insidious deeds, but also to see the rapid destruction of what they had did. And we are now, as I said, right at that pivot point um, where the quick transition of power to the people we're amidst of that. It's already beginning to occur. So we're in, you could say, the final stages of that. So yeah, the darkness in the government, sure, they're all afraid uh, because they know what they did. And as I said earlier, when you see the police and military not supporting the governments anymore, and especially the police, they know the law. So when they know governments broke the law, it's all crashing very quickly. And of course, all of the monetary deprivation and wealth disparity, inequality that was created, all of that is going. It's on its way out the door, no more of that. And it is divinely assured. This, this ascension is guaranteed. A quick thing from Tana: is there a known remedy for those who have had the jab? What I'm seeing surfacing is several remedies, but again, it depends on how many jabs that they had. So, and I will not also restrict anything in the future, and I will not condemn anyone that perhaps has been vaccinated several times, because we are entering space where more technology can be released at any moment, and I do not wish to restrict or cause, uh, as a creator, cause any harm by thinking they are all condemned or doomed. Whereas we love to see the possibilities of everyone, being fine with it. So let's keep our sights set towards knowing that the cures and the remedies, that there's already some here, but let's also know that there is more coming, and especially as soon as this transitioning of power is over, because that's what unlocks and assures more of technology like med beds and many new healing, very efficient, very rapid healing modalities and techniques. But what you're also seeing is uh, within the healers with energetics, it has already been introduced to some degree as we kept going along. So all of the remedies uh, are there to assist ones to some degree now, if not all, but I will not restrict that by saying no. I see Mark Arledge says, I remember from 3 books of the Bible and 2 books of Enoch and the testimony of Levi. Now, what I wish to, and she or he says, I keep upgrading but feel alone most of the time. What's important, that we need to look at all literature and everything that's been written. And most of you know that, at least to some extent, everything has been manipulated. So this is where you need to use your discernment, but take only the values that empower you in this now and set you free. Do not, if you're reading a book uh, that has a disempowering timeline involved in it, if it's disempowering to you, what I suggest, don't even put your focus there, because we're all about empowerment. And in reality, there is no one more powerful than you. Once you know this and are in your divine empowerment, and that's what's occurring, that's what this is all about upon the planet. You're bringing your divine empowerment into this now, and it's ascending you into the new reality. So don't be tricked by any manipulated writings of the past. The main thing, it's important what you do in this now. You know what you wish. You wish to be empowered. You wish to live in a beautiful, harmonious reality. So that's where you keep your focus and you do the things that are in alignment with that. And it is true, and you will prove it to yourself the more you shift your focus with it. So I strongly suggest only entertain empowering beliefs. Don't look at anything that says, oh, the Anunnaki created you and they're more powerful. Don't even entertain that. The moment you do that, you disempower yourself and you give your power away. Know that there is much trickery. So the answers are not in the past. You only take the value. The answers are in the now, and as you open up and go forward, more of the answers come. You need to realize that if all of the answers were on the planet already for ascension, none of the souls would be here. And if you knew the truth, no one would be in a world where it's like this, where there's indefinitely so many other harmonious worlds. So this tells you that all of the truth was not on the planet, or everyone would have had access to it, and most would have been gone long before now. So use your discernment and just do the things and pay attention to what empowers you and what resonates with your heart. And that's what sets you free and it propels you forward on your path, is what I suggest. Okay, I may just do one more question, then I'll end this. So this is looking great. I don't see at this time any more at the bottom questions. So I thank you all for joining and keep in your own divine power. No one else can tell you who and what you are, and even I. So believe and trust what I say in who you are in your connection to Creator God. What I can tell you is that yes, God, Creator, is very real, and to get aligned with that is your quickest, surest way through any turmoil and chaotic times that you are having. But again, there is the divine plan that you are part of. So you get through all of this. So it's important what you do and where you keep your focus and take care of your physical vessel and keep connected with your uh, higher consciousness awakened ones as well. Create your communities and support each other and you also, as a result, by creating your unity, uh, you empower each other, and we keep going forward. So, enough of the old stuff, that's in the past. Uh, so, that's it. I love you all. Much gratitude, love and light, and everything is going to be more than okay. So it's up to you what you do and what you choose. Thank you. Much gratitude, love, and light.